Hello. Hello. Hi, I'm Patrick, and I have this. I don't know if it's a tradition now of never preparing anything before I get up and talk about stuff. So I'm going to continue as normal. So this is a war, and we talk about chemtrails, geoengineering, weather modification. Yeah, it's all of those things, but mostly it's a war, and it's being waged by a vanishingly small group of what I call scumbags, because, it's got a little tiny little lair. And they have a lot of douchebags who work for them to make this thing happen. It is depopulation. All of the new chemicals that have been introduced into our environment either kill you, sterilize you, or basically stop us from reproducing. It's in the culture. There are no positive family shows at all in popular culture. But mostly they're straight up killing us. It is blatantly obvious, and they are hiding it in plain sight. My goal is to show the human health impacts of the spraying. I presented a paper at the Paris Climate Conference, Human Health Impacts of Proposed Geoengineering Solutions, and showing how the scientists, the geoengineers say, oh, we're considering in the future putting sulfates in the sky, but in their own papers they say, yeah, those don't work, you've got to use barium aluminum. Nanoparticles. Nanoparticles are very small. A nanometer is a billionth of a meter. These are molecular size, and these particles get inside our cells and screw up mechanically the biochemical reactions in our cells. It's been proven that it causes rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is one of the very many autoimmune diseases that we're all coming down with. Everybody has this now. It's not just Morgellons. So what I'm going to do is I have, as Brad mentioned, I've been doing these time lapses in San Francisco. I have 500 of them. And here we are in San Francisco, and right over there is City Hall. To the left is the Department of Public Health. I'm going to do a sunshine ordinance request finding out how many people died in every single day between January 2013 and December 2016. And I expect to see that on heavy spray days, more people die. Because no one yet has proven directly that the spraying kills people. And this will not show the total number of people who die. It'll be the people who are already weakened and get tipped over the edge on those days. In the mission, we have San Francisco General Hospital, which is a city hospital. It's run by the city, and it's also subject to the sunshine ordinances. So I will also request hospital admissions and ER visits for all of those days. So this database I will be bringing to the Berlin Geoengineering Conference in Berlin in October. And then I am going to grow this database and encourage people all over the world to get as much mortality data as they can from their counties and submit this to the database. And I will then tie in like when you take a picture with your iPhone, it has the date and location. So I will show a very strong correlation between the spraying and people getting sick and dying. I mean, there's plenty of anecdotal evidence that on heavy spray days, the hospitals are absolutely jammed. But these are the more extreme spray days. Every day, we are being very, very heavily sprayed. You may not see them right overhead today, but if you just look around on NASA Worldview, it's gnarly all over the place. We have square clouds, we got ripples, we have opaque clouds, we have all kinds of weird stuff happening all over the place. And why is it up to me to find out how many people are dying? The 2016 mortality statistics have still not been released by the CDC, and it's freaking late July. It's almost August. The counties have to supply the mortality statistics and all death records, and it actually happens in real time going to the states. The states have to get it to the CDC early January. So all the CDC has to do is add up the data from 50 states, which I could do in Excel in an afternoon, and they're sitting on that for now almost 8 months. Why? Well, look at England. The number one cause of death in England, Scotland, and Wales is dementia. It is not heart attack, not cancer, not stroke. Dementia. Dementia includes Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is caused by aluminum, which is showing up by the crap load in rainwater analysis. Anyone can do this. You just, you get a clean glass bowl, you leave it out, collect the rain, send it for analysis. There's barium, there's mycoplasma, there's all kinds of stuff. We can all find this stuff for ourselves, and they're actively hiding it. You try to get the word out about this, and you will, if you try to go through any organization, government, court, whatever, you will be shut down. Oh, that doesn't exist, it's a vapor trail, you're a crazy person. But the good news is, I talk to people about this a lot. More people than not that I speak to already know about it. And the ones who don't know about it have heard conflicting things. So we've reached the tipping point. People are still afraid to openly talk about it still. There's a very good job of conditioning that's been done. And we need to light a fire under them. I mean, the last winter, everyone was sick. Everyone, pretty much. I mean, sick as a dog, some people, but I posted on Facebook and asked, I was feeling lousy, like how many people are feeling lousy? And they said, well, the vast majority of people that they knew were very sick. And there are all these brand new diseases, and it can all be tied into the stuff that's being sprayed and the electromagnetic stuff. The electromagnetic stuff is very, very scary. We are... our bodies are, we got nerves and brains and muscles and things, and these are all can be affected by this military technology, electromagnetic stuff. And the amount of work they've done on EMF, they haven't done that because they feel, let's do some ivory tower and not deploy this stuff. The military always deploys stuff. And they do not give a crap about us. They really don't. They want our numbers to go way down and have a, brave new world is happening. The beconification, they want dumb, stupid people, a small amount that they can kick around, and they are the most evil. I've gone through a spiritual enlightenment, and I know how awesome many people call God or whatever is. I know how pure and awesome that is, and I'm guided by that and protected by it, which is wonderful. But everything has an opposite, and it still staggers me to think how impossibly evil the other side really is. We will not be able to, the scumbags, the people who decide to do it, we're not going to be able to reach them. But what we can do is go after the douchebags. The douchebags they're sociopaths as well, but we can appeal to their self-interest, and when they're not completely evil, because there is, it's a spectrum. No matter how far over to the dark side you go, there's still good in there. We have to go in there and increase the love. Here I am, a hippie. And it screws up their ability to be evil. It's just as if a scummy person would come into a birthday party and throw chairs around and ruin that thing. We have to use the same techniques in reverse to them. And so I actually call out to the shills, and I'm afraid, I wanted some of them to show up today, fill out the seats at least, it would be nice, because they are getting hurt by this as well. The very top guys know what's being sprayed. They have their food grown under domes with sterile soil fed by deep aquifers. The shills we deal with online, they don't get that memo. They don't get the countermeasures. One of the countermeasures I've mentioned many times, I was at the American Academy of the Advancement of Science conference in San Jose a couple of years ago. And Max Bliss and I were talking to a scientist from Tulane. And when we told him about the chemtrails and the aluminum and stuff, and he went white as a sheet, and he realized a guy he worked with at Tulane had developed a protein that would extract aluminum from living tissue and expel it from the body. That's just one thing they have. We don't know. We don't really know what is being sprayed. And another group I'd like to reach out to are research scientists, people who have access to scanning electron microscopes, crystalline chromatography, all these sort of things, who have the techniques to be able to find out what's being sprayed. I want them to be a little less enthusiastic about their job for the other side. They need to know how harmful it is. And the only way we're going to win this is through love. I want to protect everybody. I want to protect the other side. I actually want to have a meeting with David de Rothschild. I met him once. And I want to ask him to pass on to the people he knows. The Rothschilds could be a front. I don't know, but I think he has connections to those guys. To let them know that we, as a humanity, are rising up. And we are not, we're not doing it with like swords and shields, but there is a massive awakening going on. Just the awareness of the spraying. I started doing this a lot, maybe 2010 or so, and then you'd be hard-pressed to find 1 in 10 people who'd heard about chemtrails. Now, well, of course now it's a lot more obvious because they're just nailing us constantly. But that's just one aspect of the awareness of our own personal power. We are fractals of God. We have divine power. We aren't God, but we've been trained to feel we are just in this we are just in this little meat suit and we have no effect beyond ourselves. That is not true. We can manifest awesomeness. And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have qualifications. I am completely unqualified to be standing here. But I get help. I get help with everything that I do. And the crazy thing about what I'm doing now is, I look back on my life and realize that every single thing that I have done is essential for what I do to do right now. But I looked further back, and I go back 2 generations, and everything that they did was for this. And I chose to do this, but I think it was set out for me. But it's I have 2 generations of groundwork for it. Like, for example, my father's father was a Methodist minister. My mother's father was a spook. He was a career intelligence officer for GCHQ. And he gathered intelligence to win stuff for the other side. What am I doing? I'm gathering intelligence. And that's absolutely, the database is just that. I'm using their tools against them. This sort of panopticon spy grid where they listen to our phones. I'm using iPhones against them. Donna here, again, using an iPhone to record this. And here's the trick, or what I've realized in spiritual warfare. Whatever is deployed against you, that is the tool you turn around and deploy against them, because the tool itself has no evil intent. It comes with evil intent. You repurpose it with good intent, turn it around and send it back, and it really screws them up. And this is winnable. This is winnable. I mean, it does look, darkest before the dawn. People are dropping like flies, and we've got all kinds of stuff where, they got the space fence. There's, it's hard to find anything that doesn't have poison in it to eat. But this is doable. Every one of you has a spark of divinity in you. Feed that. Do not listen. Whenever you feel anything from the other side, hate, fear, violence, chaos, whatever, say, I don't really want that. That doesn't serve me. And the more you do it, the more it seems repellent. And now, frankly, it's hard to find anything good to watch or to read, because the propaganda is getting more blatant. But you naturally gravitate to a better, more moral, loving way of life. And it is about love. I think the universe is made of love. It goes from love to not love. And the other side right now, like the people who are sort of mostly on the other side, they're a little sociopathic, but they will respond positively to love. And they'll, of course, since they're all based on lies, they assume it's a trick. No, it's this is me, and I'm seriously, I want to help you. You think, why would you want to help? I want to help Ken Caldera. I feel sorry for the guy. By the way, Ken Caldera is the guy who worked at Lawrence Livermore, sat in a room, I have the recording of it, and he said that they were talking about, they were discussing how to use natural systems as weapons, could use weather as a weapon, and they were talking about setting off hydrogen bombs to cause tidal waves to flood cities, and they thought, wouldn't it be easier to just drop the hydrogen bomb on the city itself? And then he said, well, you could imagine putting pathogens in a cloud, let the cloud rain down on your enemy and do chemical and germ warfare in this kind of a way. And this could work on an area the size of the former Soviet Union. I encourage anyone watching this, go to worldview.earthdata.nasa.gov, and the entire planet is getting nailed. There's nowhere that's safe. I've looked. The Galapagos, Argentina, really getting screwed. The stuff they're doing down there, who knows what's going on? There's these giant plumes coming out of Antarctica, Russia, China, everywhere. It's not They can't do the entire planet completely at once. I'm sure they're getting to that, but the major weather systems, I don't see any natural ones anymore. And unfortunately, just like they stopped reporting aluminum levels in the atmosphere back in 2002, the California stopped at January 2002, and I think the EPA stopped reporting within a couple of months of that. NASA worldview, if you go to they said, 2012 will be the big thing. January 1st, 2012, they have all the data. When you go back one day, we lost it. None of it's there. We are to believe that NASA didn't have a tape backup, not one. So it's going to be more difficult for, because since they have, the deployment did go into full strength in the late 90s, and there are a lot of people like the 20-year-olds who've never seen anything but messed up skies. This is becoming normal to them, and of course, they add them to the cartoons and stuff. But we have to get on this now. They've cheapened life. There's this big push for transgenderism, and especially with children, they want to stop puberty or castrate 8-year-olds because they like playing with dolls or something. There's sperm counts down 60% in 40 years. Everything is an estrogen mimicker. Atrazine, that actually converts testosterone to estrogen. And that's been on our food since the 50s. And people don't talk about atrazine. It's full spectrum warfare. And the electronic one is really, really quite disturbing. People talk about targeted individuals. I'm one. I think maybe we all are. Because when they'll flip a switch and will take you down like a freaking sack of spuds. You can't, and it'll come on immediately, like boom, and you'll feel exhausted. Different people will have different responses to that. That's a tough one, because unless you can walk around in a Faraday cage, and this stuff gets through all kinds of stuff, but we need, while we still have minds, because the electronic stuff with the transhumanism and I don't like saying, we have a limited amount of time, but we need to act fast, because we have free will still. We can choose things. You can choose, pick a side for one. Do you want like puppies and ice cream, like happy people, or enslavement? I'd say we are all slaves. We live in the matrix, but it doesn't. Their techniques, I don't think, work entirely well with 100%. Like the P.T. Barnum thing about fooling all the people all the time. You can't do that. We are proof that it isn't entirely. Hope is not lost. You showed up, and if you come away from this thinking, I should click like on Facebook, that's not how we're going to do it. We have to get away from the digital plantation. And another thing I'd like to do, frankly, is the database. I know maybe because I'm 1/4 spook, I know you have to protect data and information. So you can do a DDoS attack and take down servers. Not a problem. I'll have torrents of the server distributed all over, and people will not need the entire database. They can have a part of it, and the whole thing can network and act as a cloud, but not in a central data center. If I get that working, I want to extend that and have, like, why use YouTube? Oh, because they got big data centers. What is a data center? It has processors, it has storage, it has connectivity. So is your phone. If I can encourage free software, free meaning it's completely open, anyone can copy and use it, and there's no restrictions whatsoever. If we can, I want to see a movement where we democratize the stuff that we are having, we've become dependent on. Google, Facebook, Twitter, all of those things. We need to get away from obviously moving away from the mainstream media, but I think we also need to move away from the digital ghetto, the digital plantation, because you may think, oh, I'm going to reach a lot of people because I'm on Facebook. Oh, I have 10,000 friends and followers. Well, not if their algorithm decides, oh, we don't want this to get out. We need to break our digital bonds. But that's for later on. That's another thing that I have. So once I prove the spraying kills people, that is going to weaken the power of everybody who says, oh no, those are just vapor trails. They blow all their credibility. And we're on record, and you showed up here, like, they're on notice. It's going to be harder for them to control us. I mean, they're going to pump out more entertainment, and here, look at this shiny object, or oh, look at this scary person over there. But if we can, I mean, people don't trust politicians or the media to begin with, but this could be a severe body blow. And I know I'm moving away from the chemtrail thing, but that's my primary thing. I'm going to get that stopped. It's part of a much larger war. It's a very significant one. It's killing billions of people. I mean, number one cause of death, and that's just England. I mean, like Argentina, like, it's really bad there. Australia, everywhere. It is a matter of life and death, and it's unambiguously good against evil. I pick good, and anyone can just, if you choose the right path and you're determined, you can achieve anything. I mean, like, I'm just some guy. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot, but I'm going to, and nothing's going to stop me. I mean, I really feel inspired in the truest sense of the word. I mean, I get all these ideas, like, where did that come from? And the other thing is, when you listen to your gut and do the right thing, you will be provided for. You'll have the right answers, you have the right words, and the things that you ask for, you realize, oh yeah, I do have the thing that I need to do that thing. It is, and you'll think, oh, but we're this tiny minority. We're not. Everyone has good in them. You appeal to that good, and yeah, there are some people who, obviously there's bad people. Otherwise, we wouldn't have bad things. We wouldn't have wars. We wouldn't have all this sort of stuff. And it takes the third person. There's this video I saw on YouTube some years ago. It was a concert, and there were all these people sitting on the grass listening to some band. And there's this one guy, he got up and he was like dancing like a fool. He was having a great time. And he was just dancing and dancing and dancing and dancing, and he just by himself. Eventually, a young woman got up and joined him. And they were dancing for another few minutes or so. When the third person got up to join them, everyone got off their seats and started dancing. I'm not sure if we're the first or the second dancer, but we're getting pretty close to that third dancer. And I am telling the people who are still like, oh no, that's just a vapor trail. If you don't change your tune, we're all going to be dancing around you and you're going to be ignored. I did, like, the other things that I do, I actually went to the, I'm a member, people say, there's no such thing as weather modification. I'm a paid up member of the Weather Modification Association. I have a t-shirt. And when I went there this year, I told them about my database. What I'm going to do, I'm proving this stuff is going to happen, proving this is killing people. And I told them, if you don't get ahead of this, I'm going to give them warning. I'm going to let them know, by the way, I'm about to publish. And if they do not say, we got nothing to do with that stuff, we totally dismiss it, we condemn it, we're against it, we don't want anything to do with it, people are going to come after them. But they're not just going to come after them, they're going to come after politicians, everyone who's been blowing smoke up our rear ends all this time. They are going to lose all credibility. They're going to lose all power, because all the other side wants to do in terms of spiritual warfare is get us to pay attention to their dark, nasty stuff and think, they're our masters. No, they're freaking not. My cat Samantha, she's awesome. Am I her master? She'll come up paying attention, but I have no authority over her. I could physically catch her and stick her in a closet or something, but I have no authority over her. I have no authority over anyone else. So why should anyone have any authority over you? Why? Unless you give them your power. And you give them your power by, first of all, paying attention to them. Listen to, be afraid of whatever. We'll come and help you. And all that stuff. No, we are all individual. We are enormously powerful. We need to start exercising that. And let them know that the other side, they have nothing to fear as long as they do the right thing or start along that way. It's going to be very difficult for anyone who's in that position to be the second dancer, or even the third. Might be a little tricky for him, but we are reaching that third dancer. And once that happens, unless they totally rebrand and say, we're really sorry, we're going to do something about it, they're going to be screwed. And my goal is to protect them, not their system, but protect them, because they are souls, they have free will, and they can exercise that. It's very dangerous right now to be a whistleblower, and therefore there aren't any. There haven't been any official admissions at all, zero. People talk about the John Brennan at the CFR. He still talked about it as being a proposal. There's nothing. You'll have former people, once they're retired and stuff, will speak out about it. And props to Prince and everyone else who has stuck their neck out. And it is, frankly, at this point, sticking your neck out a bit, but I'm not afraid. I've got no freaking fear. It's boring to deal with shills. It's like, but if you engage them and you get in their weird energy, I don't bother with them. It's okay to do the right thing. And when you do, you're protected. But I will soon be building this database, and I'm going to be I'm going to need all kinds of help with database stuff, but it's the grunt work of people pestering their counties and getting all the death records that they have, that they are able to release. It's difficult getting full death records because, in some states it's whatever. But what we need to know is what people are dying of, where and when. That we can do, and that doesn't have any identifying information. And it's good to get the historical stuff to see, since they've been spraying, it's gone way up. But once we get to real-time reporting, not only will we be able to realize, it's a heavy spray day there, like this particular attack is happening and people are dying, we'll be able to see what's happening as it's happening for the next BS thing that's coming out. And they'll say, oh no, we the people who are doing the living and the dying can't get that information. But Google does, Facebook does, and why shouldn't we? Because, Google can find out, if people are buying, Kleenex or shopping for allergy medicine and stuff. But, Alana. Okay, actually, I'll do Q&A now.
I have a few questions.
Yeah, but do it into this microphone. Speak into here, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So I wanted to ask, on any given day, how many chemtrail spraying aircraft are active worldwide?
All of them. Basically, the entire commercial fleet. They don't spray every day, but all commercial airlines spray. And it's hard for me because I can't be everywhere. Mm-hmm. But on days when they spray, every freaking plane sprays. And when they're not spraying, you either don't see them or they're using a different mix that doesn't persist.
Okay, now I wanted to ask, are the pilots of the aircraft aware of / complicit with the spraying program? Are the various air traffic agencies aware or involved?
They're aware of it, but I wouldn't say they're complicit, because again, there's the omerta. They can't if you say something really bad happens. Plus, the deployment is done centrally. They don't have a little clipboard where they have to click a switch to spray when they get to point A. There's no point doing that. There's supercomputers for that.
Okay, I wanted to ask, how many people are involved with delivering the chemicals to the planes, filling the tanks, etc.?
Huge.
Are they aware of the purpose of the program? And also, how much does it actually cost to deliver the chemicals and fill the tanks and whatnot?
It's a massive program. We subsidize it through our airfares. Baggage allowances have been lowered to increase the amount of stuff.
But can you give a number in terms of the cost?
I have no idea. It's a huge amount. I'm just guessing from what I see on NASA Worldview.
It used to be $5 million a month, but I just read a statistic, I don't remember, where it had multiplied considerably, and I was surprised.
But how is it funded?
Well, I could answer that. Remember 2008 when all that money went to money heaven? It didn't go to money heaven.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and the thing is, the same people who are doing this are the same ones who print the money. So I'm not saying it's the banks, but the scumbags who the scumbags control, military, governments, education, healthcare, aviation, manufacturing, mining, and all that sort of stuff. They can do whatever they want.
Now, how do the people involved in the spraying program protect themselves and their families from the chemicals that are being sprayed?
They don't.
But why do they participate then?
Why do they drop bombs in the West Desert? Why am I downwinder?
Well,
it's all for national security reasons.
The aerotoxic syndrome. If you they're people who work up at 30,000 feet are dropping like flies. That includes pilots air crews and frequent flyers. They don't protect. Like the top guys, they get the full protection. I'm not quite sure how many layers down get that as well. But
okay, now I did want to ask, if a person were interested in becoming an active participant in the spraying program, how and where would they apply for such a job? Like
United Airlines, Raytheon, MITRE Corporation, Lockheed.
Well, do they have advertisements?
No, they don't advertise. It's a covert program. But the thing is, like, there are many. It's not just they're spraying aluminum. They're all this like weird bio stuff that you can. Well, first of all, if I wanted to be like a geoengineer, you go into earth sciences or bioethics, and now they have bioengineering. Programs, places like Stanford, bioengineering? Oh, hell no. So, yeah, but when you get into those corporations, and it's a need-to-know thing. It's all compartmentalized.
A company called Maxigen, I remember talking about a while ago, that used to be part of supplying the spray for some of these. And the spray also has a nickname. It's called Panther Piss. They put it in the fuel additive sometimes, and they fly it out.
Who calls it Panther Piss?
The military, the Air Force does.
Yeah.
And how is the program coordinated internationally? Is there a central planning committee, or is it more franchise by franchise?
Again, this is difficult because if you look into like actually masonry, like if you become a mason, the person who recruits you doesn't tell you who his above people are. It's a need to know. It's very compartmentalized. It's only once you're in and you're trusted and say, okay, actually now we can tell you our actual goal is to whatever. They won't say anything until, well, first of all, they can trust you, and the way they can trust you for the higher up stuff is get you to do something depraved and awful. I mean, that's why there's the pedophilia stuff's coming out all over the place. And when you're controllable, and also everyone who has operational knowledge of this they let them know in no uncertain terms what's going to happen, and they do show examples of people who have loose lips sink ships kind of thing. Bad things happen to them and their families.
About money and companies. DARPA, $6.7 million grant to Maxigen for the deployment of aerosolized vaccines and anti-biological agents. That was back in the 1980s. It was that group. Evergreen Air also was part of this. They actually were dropping trails as well. Helicopters were fitted to drop trails. The Navy was responsible for Operation Sea Spray in San Francisco. Sea Spray was a chemtrail operation that was done with the fog here in San Francisco. There was also Operation Popeye, Operation Cloverleaf. All these groups were all part of a bio agent vulnerability study by dropping trails in the skies over parts of the United States, including Alaska and Hawaii.
I mean, the thing is, it is huge, and there's a lot of people involved, and a lot of it is done by compartmentalization. I think on super heavy spray days, when like there's this program for Flight Radar 24 where you can just like point up and it'll show you what plane's spraying. There are days where most of the planes don't show up on that, and I think these unmarked ones, I think a lot of them are drones, because the only reason we have pilots today is because passengers are uncomfortable getting onto robot airplanes for now. That might change when people normalize self-driving cars, which I'm also against. But yeah, it's compartmentalization, and I think that a lot of the military who do know about it, they are told, yeah, first of all, national security. Secondly, it's to save you from global warming. And these aren't... They keep really close watch on them. And also, you got to remember that, because people say, but how can they hide something so big?
I just quickly want to ask, they keep a close watch on whom? I'm just trying to follow what you're saying.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Who keeps a close watch on who?
Let me finish. Right. So the example I use, you can't keep a big secret. Manhattan Project, 100,000 scientists plus all support personnel, and people say, well, now, yeah, we've got Twitter and Facebook. They could easily get that information out. Yeah, but that works both ways. The surveillance people have on us is granular, and it's so far beyond 1984, with the telescreens, and it would be impossible for them to get it out. And even if they did, there's ways of getting, they can control the information, sadly.
So I did want to ask, if the program is international, how many people in each participating national government are involved?
Well, the top layers of government, what we
Can
call...
you give us a number?
Well, the top layers, the senior people in all governments are all aware of it, but it's not run by the countries. The countries do it because there is a supranational thing that is coordinating it all. Who that is, I don't know. I just call them the scumbags. The global.
But you don't know how many scumbags there are.
6,000. Well, according to
where do you get the 6,000 from?
David Rothkopf's book Superclass came out in 2005. He was the head of the Kissinger Group. He says the global elite number 6,000. He might have been talking the U.S. Anglo-American establishment. I'm not sure if he was including Japan, Africa, and all these other places, but those are the top guys, whoever they are. And we might not even know any of their names, because why should they even tell us their names?
Now, you say it's primarily the commercial airliners that are doing this.
Yeah.
Are the pilots who train to fly, are they aware of... are they aware of or complicit with it? I mean, are they briefed they
just like if you call up a weather station or a political office, if you first get on the phone with an intern who doesn't know about this, they'll be all concerned, like, oh, I'll look into it. And the next time you speak to them, no, those are just vapor trails. They get the talk. And it's just like nobody spoke about.
What is the talk? I mean, what kind of talk?
Yes, it's going on. If you say something about it, very bad things will happen to you and your family and your dog and your whatever.
Well, I just want to ask in that case, which people have said, which people working in a capacity with an airline have said things.
There was a guy from Evergreen Air that lived in McMinnville, Oregon.
Mm-hmm. What was his name?
I don't know what his name was.
But that doesn't help me if you don't know his name.
Example. I don't know his name, but I know he worked for Evergreen Air. He lived in McMinnville, Oregon. He went into a bar, opened his mouth about what he was involved in, some spraying group. They thought he was talking about crop dusting, and it was something more. Sophisticated than that. He ended up being found shot in his house. Now we could say that it was.
What year was this?
Oh my God! It was probably.
Evergreen hasn't been active for a while.
No, that was 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, look, they've been out of business now.
And you don't know his name?
I don't know his name because
But that doesn't help me.
Well, it's not top of mind.
Well, the thing.
Like me asking you, who's the president of Yugoslavia? Can you give it to me? No, because it's not on your top.
Well, that's not relevant to this discussion. And the president of the Yugoslavia.
We are talking. We.
I can give you the instance. You can look up the instance.
But if there's gaps in your information. Well, I asked you what his name was, and you didn't know.
Wait, this is actually. Can I interrupt here? This is an example of Rule 19. Rule 19 is ignore presented evidence, demand impossible proof. I can't tell you the names of the people who are running this covert program because it's covert. I have no security clearance, to quote Ken Caldera. So I can't tell you the numbers, the costs, all that sort of stuff, but I can see it going on, and people are dropping like flies.
Wait a minute. The thing of it, though, is when people study, ecological phenomena, especially, things where there's pollution or other sort of emergencies, they do keep tabs on the numbers and on the statistics.
No, they don't.
Thoroughly.
The EPA stopped testing. They stopped reporting increasing levels of aluminum in the atmosphere in 2002 as the program was ramping up. The EPA won't even tell us how many people died last year.
The
it's
dropped all questioning about downwinder programs after the testing of nuclear weapons in Nevada and how the fallout hit Hurricane St. George and Cedar City, Utah. All of those people were left behind in the cold because they wanted to sue for damage that were done. They were told there would be no problem with the fallout landing in the area. I'm a product of the downwinder situation, and I have no recourse to go to the government and say, oh, by the way, I have kidney cancer, I've had it 3 times, I'm destined to have more cancer in my life. And every time I get close to the knife, I'm probably going to end up getting closer to death because of a test that went on 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
Yeah, let's have one more question. I got my hand here.
I'm done. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, it just seems that if somebody at this point hasn't seen what's going on in the sky and hasn't done their own research,
Or doesn't care.
we're not in a position to prove to that person stuff that we have gathered through years of research. It cannot be done. So if that hasn't been delivered to you, I don't think that you can blame us or go away thinking that it's just a bunch of wingnuts.
I mean, I appreciate the questions, and I really actually I appreciate the other side. I appreciate the shills because they keep us honest. No, I'm not saying you're a shill. I'm not saying a shill. You just use a shill technique. And of course, I don't have all the answers, but I do know where things. I mean, what?
We wouldn't be sitting here, seriously.
You know, we should have stadiums full of people.
Well, one thing is, it's like asking, can you prove your parents love you? No, I know they do.
Yeah.
Can you prove that your parents love you? Can you prove your parents love you?
I'm not altogether convinced that's completely a whole other show.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the same thing. I mean, there are a lot of things that are going on that we can't see, that we do feel, that we do know statistics show that we have a lot of people in this country that are having these sicknesses, like Epstein-Barr, like fibromyalgia, that the government said it was all in their heads, and now they're providing things like Lyrica and other drugs for people because Big Pharma saw an opportunity in crisis, and with disaster capitalism, they capitalize on everybody's sickness. If you have cancer, if you have anything, you're going to be a slave to Big Pharma for the rest of your life because they haven't found a damn cure, and they're continuing to spray us and continuing to make us sick. So there's no way in hell that you're going to tell me the statistics in this country who claim to have the best healthcare system in the world is not having more people in hospitals wondering what the hell just happened to them.
So are you curious about the increase in like Alzheimer's and COPD and all those sort of things? Well, they're not publishing aren't you concerned that CDC won't say how many people died last year and what they died of? Doesn't that bother you?
It never came up for me. I mean,
Because they won't report it. Don't you think that's kind of odd? That's like number one cause of death in the UK now. It's overtaking heart attack, cancer, and stroke. Maybe curious why that might be.
yeah, but why are you asking me these questions when you won't answer the ones I already asked?
Well, I told you these are covert programs, and of course I'm not part of the budget office of these programs. I'm not the guy who set them in motion.
Well, I mean, if this is a covert program, I mean, the thing is, when you have a large-scale conspiracy, one of the things that causes it to be doomed to fail is the fact that somebody gets careless, gets sloppy, gets a big mouth. I mean, we have Watergate, one example of someone getting sloppy and careless. There's also,
how about Manhattan Project?
Well, I'll read up about the Manhattan Project.
Oh, the atom bomb. That's the atom bomb. Yeah, like 100,000 scientists. Anyway, thank you. All right, so please.
The benefit of having questions like those is that when that person finally does see it a different way, then that is a turning of the tide. We've been activists for a long time. I got here because of nutrition and the crappy nutrition. So it was no surprise that fluoridation was bad. No surprise that vaccinations were bad.
Yeah.
No surprise that this was happening, that 9/11 was a red flag. But for most people who have a very optimistic view of life, they don't understand that these bad things can happen. When they say, I used to think there was no problem, and now I know that this is real, those are the people that will convince their whole community, because that's what those people were known for.
Yeah. Anybody? Please.
Yeah, Too bad that guy left, because I was
know.
going to bring up a new whistleblower who just came out. His name is Ronald Bernard, and you might want to write that down. This guy, Ronald Bernard, he's Dutch. He does speak pretty good English.
That's awesome.
Once
I saw
in a
that
while.
guy. Yeah, the banker.
I mean, if we want to talk about the 6,000, he says it's only 1,800 people rule this planet. And it is the elite bankers, because when you control the money, which is fiat money, it's not based on anything anymore, you have unlimited funds to roll out. And what I also would have told him is about the black op projects.
Huge.
Remember the day before 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld said, $2.3 trillion just gone. And they just announced another 6-some trillion. So now we're talking about half of our national debt can't even be accounted for in these black operations. So
yeah, like Men in Black, it wasn't about like $10,000 toilet seats. It wasn't just that.
no. But just to end it on this Ronald Bernard, I highly recommend you all see it. He also talks about this Illuminati network, what they're up to, how they try to get people into blackmailable situations, including himself, and how deep the rabbit hole goes. And it does go to the pedo gate. It does go to child sacrifice. And he said that's where he drew the line. He said, I can't do it.
Because he was molested as a kid himself.
Yeah, he went to the sex parties just like Eyes Wide Shut, and he thought, oh, that's great. I'll just have a drink and maybe hook up with a hooker. That wasn't good enough to be blackmailable. They wanted him to do a sacrifice, and he nearly breaks down crying.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, do you want to take a break? Should we stop? He goes, no, I want to continue on. And then he really blows the lid on the whole thing. Yeah. He will not name names because that will get him killed.
Yeah.
But he is in the position of saying, I worked with these people, these 1,800 that rule the world, and they're malicious psychopaths. So to put anything by them, and by the way, the other thing is, with the elite growing their food under domes, maybe they have the antidote. Isn't it ironic that the same person who discovered HIV/AIDS is also the guy that came out with the remedy for curing it? So maybe at the same time when they're coming out with how they're going to kill us, they also have a backup for themselves to save their ass.
Well, also, like, when was the last time a top scumbag died of cancer? They don't get it.
We're hoping for John McCain, but that's fine.
Oh, I thought you wanted to ask a question. Anyone? Anybody?
I think we have to be out in 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. So,
Let's talk outside.
yeah, okay. So, thanks again, everybody. Sorry I lost my cool a little bit with this guy, but it's like, come on.
He wasn't here for answers.
He wasn't here for answers. Yeah, Rule 19. That's an important one. On my website, stopsprayingus.com, where you can get these really cool pins. There's an article there called, there's a Selling Chemtrails thing, which is about technocracy, which you need to look into that. The Shill Handbook. If you're going to be doing any stuff online, you need to know the techniques of the other side, and that lists them all. Rule 19 is their favorite one. Stopsprayingus.com. I think I put the video up here as well. But I want to give my deep gratitude for everyone who came from far and wide. And, it looks like we got small numbers, but we don't. You've all noticed when you start talking to people out there, they know about it, but once we establish the health stuff, they're going to be pissed and hopefully be motivated to actually get something done about this. And I'm also looking forward to the people who will come after us, because I'm just the guy who's standing here. There are people before me. Clifford Carnicom was doing stuff long before me, and there's going to be people after, and I salute them as well. And so for now, thank you, and good evening, and let's go get something to eat. Yeah.